'tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh, and today I wanted to talk about the chance of a Venom game coming out from Insomniac and what that would look like. And I wanted to start by talking about Spider-Man 2, of course, and that is the game that Venom has appeared in recently that the spin-off could potentially happen. So Spider-Man 2 I loved. I thought it was super good. Now, of course, I have some mild complaints, but this isn't really the time and place to get into a deep dive on Spider-Man 2, but I platinumed the game over the course of about 30 hours over the span of about 5 days. So I played a lot of it over the weekend it came out, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. And Venom was a big part of why I thought it was so good. Venom was incredible in this. It made me remember why I love Venom as a character. While I find the Venom movies to be decent, I don't particularly love them. They don't really remind me as to why I fell in love with the character to begin with. But this game really did, and I thought it was really good. Of course, you'll hear me talk about it later when I make my Games of the Year list, I'm sure, and we'll talk about it more then. But the Venom game has been rumored, has been talked about a little bit by the developers. There's been nothing confirmed yet. So as we stand, there is nothing said about DLC for Spider-Man 2, and I don't really think there needs to be DLC for Spider-Man 2. While it is shorter than the first game, I don't think it needs a lot of DLC to expand it out. But I hope that they take the ideas they have for potential DLC and put them into this suggested Venom game. So, of course, going through the past of the Spider-Man games, we had our original in 2018, just Marvel Spider-Man, and it was really great. And, of course, that had DLC, but also had, from what I know, was planned to be DLC, but then grew and grew into its own game. It wasn't just an expansion anymore. It was blown out to be its whole new thing, and that was Miles Morales, which was kind of like a half-step sequel. It wasn't a full-blown Spider-Man 2. It was... it was another game in this universe. It was quite a bit shorter. It told a smaller story, had our new Spider-Man, and it was really good. Coming out on the PlayStation 5 at the time, one of the first games on the console, a good introduction into how Miles was going to be in this universe fully, because of course he was in the first game, but he wasn't Spider-Man yet. So we get to see Spider-Man in this new context, and it was a good game. Of course, Spider-Man 2 was the next big one, and with how fast Insomniac puts games out with their level of quality is crazy. But of course now Spider-Man 2 has come, and it is gone for some people because we played it very quickly, me included. I played this game extremely fast because I just loved playing it. I loved not every minute, but most minutes of this game. I loved playing it. Just swinging around, using the new wingsuit, different types of missions. Like, there was very few times I was like, I don't like this. Most of the time was excellent in this game. And so, of course, I want more, right? Of course, I want there to be more game. And this is where we're going to get into a little bit of spoilers for the story. Of course, Venom's in the game, but you don't know what context, so skip to this time code if you don't care to hear about how Venom works in the story, and you just want to hear about gameplay and stuff like that for the potential Venom game. So Eddie Brock is not Venom in this game. Of course, it is Harry Osborn, which we all kind of thought because of the tease in the last game with how Harry is being worked on with the symbiote. They do the Venom story with him, which is really good. It has that connective tissue, and him and Spider-Man can interact more. And there is the big moment when Harry becomes Venom. Like, the suit has parts to play through a lot of the game up to when we see Venom, but the Venom introduction mission is one of the best moments in gaming this year. That mission where you control Venom, you feel the power behind it. Like, you're strong as Spider-Man, and you always know you're strong as either one that you're playing as, but when you're playing as Venom, you feel powerful. You're breaking down walls, you're smashing bad guys into the floor, you're leaping through buildings. It's crazy. And it culminates in one of the craziest boss fights in the game, one of the coolest moments of the entire story. I loved it. So that can translate well into its own game. Like that section, obviously there aren't as many tools as you have as either Spider-Man. You have enough to where it doesn't feel repetitive, it feels fleshed out to where you can give it more in its own experience. So that's what I hope Insomniac does next. While DLC would expand this game and it could make it into a bigger and better game, I do think if they took all that focus and swung it into not more Spider-Man, but into a Venom-specific game, then it'd be perfect. There is a character story, one of the side quests in this game, which you don't even have to play. It's crazy to think that this is just a side quest. You can entirely miss this part of the game. There is a little moment to a character that works really well with Venom, and that could be the main antagonist of the Venom game, and you can have other storylines, including with other characters that were maybe hinted at in this one, because there are many more hints in Spider-Man 2 than there are in the original game as to where the third game could possibly go. And I'm telling you, the third game better be like a story of like 40, 50 hours, not a completionist rate of 30 like this one was. I'm talking with all the stuff they were hinting at, all the stuff that they were proposing, it's going to be a big game. So I'm thinking that you can have the best of both worlds, because Venom game can take some of that burden, not burden as a bad thing, but take some of the weight. All those hints and nods and loose threads can be tossed onto Venom, and it can take a lot of the weight and can be a little bit different, as opposed to how a lot of the gameplay in Miles Morales felt pretty similar to the first game, which makes sense because it is a continuation of the world. It is another Spider-Man, so Spider-Man's going to feel like Spider-Man, considering, Miles was trained by Peter, so of course it should feel similar, but Venom's a totally different guy. It's a totally different beast, so having his own gameplay could feel awesome. Plus, Venom has his own stories, and considering we have the connection with Spider-Man already, with Spider-Man 2, Venom can do his own thing for a little bit. Like, Spider-Man can show up. Maybe he's a boss fight. It can like a reverse thing. That could be cool. There's a lot of cool things they can do with a Venom game. I really hope that they go for it. And I don't have any doubt that Insomniac is, because Insomniac knows what they have here. And they knows what they did. And they know what people want to see. Like, they're really good about that stuff. And, of course, they're working on Wolverine, and we suspect a third one of these games. I don't see why they wouldn't be. There are no concrete plans for it right now. Nor should there be, considering the second one just came out. Like, we can give them a little bit of a break. But they won't give themselves a break. They've already, just thinking about the crazy release schedules that Insomniac has, they have Miles Morales and The Last Spider-Man, but also there was a Ratchet and Clank in there. So, Insomniac is pumping out games, and of course we're supposed to have Wolverine next year, so I'm thinking maybe the year after that is Venom. I don't know. And then another 2 years, Spider-Man 3. It's crazy to say that for any studio, but like Insomniac is very good about these kinds of things, and they're very good about making games quickly. Not only making games quickly, but making great games quickly. So I'm excited to see what happens, and I would not be surprised if during E3 season next year we're seeing gameplay for Wolverine, but also there's a trailer for the Venom game and stuff like that. So it's all exciting, and I look forward to seeing whatever they're doing. If they're not doing any of it and they're putting all of their work into Wolverine and then all of their work into Spider-Man 3, like, I'm okay with that too. Like, the Venom game doesn't necessarily need to happen, but man, Spider-Man 3 is going to be a massive game, or at least if they include all the setups that they have, it's going to be an insanely massive game. So I think you can do two games, and one game that people expect and one game that people really want, and those can be two different things. So yeah. So what are your thoughts on perhaps a new Venom game coming out for us all to enjoy and play? And have you played Spider-Man 2 yet? If not, why not? Are you just a Microsoft, Nintendo, or PC person? You haven't played it because it's only on PlayStation right now. That's a valid reason, but I hope you can play it at some point in the future because it is a wonderful game. I cannot wait to talk about it again. But that'll about do it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. And as always, like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.